supply chain, and artificial intelligence. AI is already playing a big role in transforming the entire supply chain from top to bottom. We've been using it there for probably 10 years. It's just a matter of increments in what we call supply chain artificial intelligence. Well, it's been a whole series of things, but probably one of the most simplistic ones. I was talking to somebody that works in one of the largest warehouse areas in Southern California, and he's telling me that they just toss on every single high-low they have in their factory. That it's a trucking facility. They all have an iPad. It doesn't sound like much, except unless you've driven a high-low, a forklift, you're out there, you're scrambling, you got a clipboard, you're flipping through pages and everything else, you got bosses yelling at you, and all of a sudden now you have information on one spot. It is physically mounted on the inside of the front of the high-low, and the driver can actually go through, look at it, flick with his finger, and nonstop. You can actually give them direction as to exactly what spot. Go to S14, and they go to S14, and they take whatever in S14, and they go take it over to truck point, whatever that number may be, 72, and they drive it over there, and they go and they load it in and everything else in the right trailer in a much more efficient time. He told me that just that one change has transformed the entire aspect of shipping, loading, identifying which row and everything else, and it moves faster. It's not that it's much more brilliant. It's simple technology, except for the fact now it's in the hands of the entry level work. Those people, they're actually getting communication top to bottom almost instantaneously. The employees know exactly what is expected, where it goes. If it's toxic, they have different requirements for that, different high-low drivers, different training. Some can't go get that. You have different aspects in there, and AI is already in the process of changing everything. From ERP systems, they tend to bring business functions together. So we're talking about AI has the capacity to sit down there and from the programming and the management and the business system methodologies, all of a sudden now AI is taking that and transmitting it to the entire organization in one single unit. Probably the best thing it's going to bring is communication. Yes, it's going to eliminate some jobs, but really, in some of the training that I've had recently, I just completed a course at MIT on artificial intelligence in regards to business strategy. If you look big picture wise, almost every technological leap that we've had, everybody is always running around saying, oh no, we'll lose jobs, we'll lose jobs. And indeed, we did lose some of the oldest jobs possible. Once upon a time, if you go back in history, over 50% of all American entrepreneurs were engaged in farming. Today, the number varies as to what you read. I read anywhere from 2% to 4% of Americans are engaged in farming. Gee, we're all still working. We still have unemployment levels. We have jobs left unfilled. The reality is, yes, it changed, but people found different types of work, generally sometimes higher level work and higher paying work than where we're at today. So we're going to have some problems with AI. I think it's going to displace a lot of jobs, but here's an example where AI is going to really enhance the jobs and far improve productivity past anything we could even envision today. In 10 years, we'll have all kinds of different aspects, especially with the ERP systems, decision support systems. It's going to depend upon the nature of the problem and the planning horizon and different bumps in the road. Just because you have a good plan doesn't mean the good plan gets executed. It means you have a good plan, but things will happen in the middle of the plan that you'll have to be able to pivot to. And AI right now is not a good pivoting tool. It has a hard time shifting, but it can present different options for decision points as well. So by the time you're done on the analysis, look at the planning levels of the manufacturing characteristics, demand fluctuation, transportation costs, and inventory costs, all those different functions right there, characteristics, demand fluctuation, transportation costs, and inventory costs will be right there on your fingers, just like that with a snap, rather than having to sit down there and do some analysis and get back to somebody the next day. You'll be able with AI to have a good, solid decision support system so that you too can be successful in your work. Don't be afraid of it, embrace it. And by the way, The ones that embrace AI the soonest will be the ones that don't have to worry about losing their jobs to AI because they'll already be on top of it and have a partnership in the fact that they know how to use it. And that's what employers of the near future will be looking for. On queries, probably one of the most difficult things to write is a good query. The more you put into it, a lot of times, the more you'll get out of it. But you have to pay attention to the actual AI you're dealing with. We have a lot of natural language models out there, anything from ChatGPT to the critter made by Google that actually went through and put a lot of politically correct aspects to different data out there. We have AIs being taught to have all kinds of foolishness in them and everything else instead of being historically correct or actually having good, solid data. Make certain whatever AI you're looking at that you have it and know where it's drawing its information from and teaching it in the process. That's going to be critical to make certain that you have one that you can trust. This is just as important, and as I mentioned previously, going down that supply chain, making certain you have integrity and trust in it. If you can't trust the AI, you need to get rid of it and get something you can trust and see where it's drawing its data from, because you need to have accurate data in every single decision that you make. And AI should not be giving you an opinion, it should be giving you data in the process that you can use to make those decisions in the process. So statistical analysis, look at trends, look on the aspect of different aspects of regression where the values are real, and look in that process, supervised, unsupervised, different aspects. Sometimes the information is actually the aspect of being supervised, you're watching what's going on. And sometimes when you get that level of trust in your AI, you can actually be unsupervised and go out and gather data and looking at that aspect of it and give you data that's out there according to the machine. That whole aspect, decision support systems, make certain that you're looking at a specific problem to be solved. A lot of times, though, that problem identification is very difficult. Of all things, I've seen too much problems with management when everybody can't get together and say, this is the problem. Too often we focus on surface issues and don't dive into the core of the problem. If you can sit down and have a solid inquiry with a trustworthy AI, they can help you identify the problem that needs to be solved or give you different options as to what could be the problem over here, but what other problems that could be related to that as well. AI is very good at giving you options and helping you think. I was out there, I was writing a course on really cryptocurrency, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on. And so I sat there and I put an inquiry, and you know what? I knew all the different things, 5 or 6 points in it. I didn't know that there were 9 points in it. I asked AI, and all of a sudden now it gave me a couple things that I had in the back of my head, but it didn't come forward. Sometimes AI will give you additional options you never ever thought about. So it just depends what you're doing when you're developing your system and asking questions. Have good, solid queries. It's even worthwhile taking a 1 week course someplace in the process of saying, these are good queries and how to write a good query. The more my experience is, the more I write, the more data I put into it and identify exactly what I'm looking for, the better the DSS, the decision support system I have using an AI can really help. Sometimes you have it as simple as tracking costs. AIs are really great at tracking costs and finding things out because that's real data. And really, if you're going to go data mining, AIs are some of the best ways of doing it. Simulation, you can put different concepts out there and say, what'll happen over here? What'll happen over here? You can create a model of the process on the computer itself rather than having a real life aspect of it or going through Excel spreadsheets trying to figure out the costing of it. AI can do that, but it's got to be trustworthy. Specify the random elements in the model and have a probability distribution. Let the machine do the work instead of you doing the work in the process. You can see the different variations much faster than you can do by hand and run the model to study the different effects. A lot of systems will exhibit intelligence by having some form of learning in the process. Now, I don't know about your experience, but let me tell you some of my background in the aspect of trying to sit down and develop experience. Sometimes I've had to go through and I pay a lawyer to go explore an area, and all of a sudden I'm paying a lawyer to go out and start studying the topic, and I'm paying for their education. That's not how it's supposed to work. So I'm paying hundreds of dollars an hour for them to go study. In theory, they should walk up to the table with that knowledge already there, but it simply doesn't always exist. The same thing happens with AIs. Sometimes they don't know the topic. They need to go out and explore. Sit down and do bite-sized pieces when you're talking to an AI. You start using that, build your own arguments and your own portfolio of knowledge in the area, and use that portfolio to develop good queries into the AI system. And you'll be surprised at the depth of knowledge you'll obtain from good use and good search engine qualities of an AI. They can be outstanding if it's used properly, but you have to learn how to use it properly, especially since there's an artificial neural network that we're actually developing in almost all AIs. Watch what's out there. Make certain that there's some type of intelligent or cognitive system where there's some thinking involved in the process. And the thinking isn't human thinking, it's machine thinking. So there's a difference in the quality of it. But always remember, it is still thinking, and it's going to think in areas that you probably will not relate to, and pick up different things that you don't know that might help you in your decision making process. It'll increase your efficiency. It's going to enhance your forecasting. It's going to do things you never thought about doing at a faster speed. Long as you're sitting in the driver's chair, you're fine. Real-time decision making, it can give you multiple data points that you would spend days, usually sometimes even weeks, trying to figure out just a perspective. It'll give you some. And by the way, AI is going to make some mistakes in the process. Be prepared for that. I'm not impressed that I trust everything. I've had students submit papers, written by AI, and to be honest, it's an 80% tool. It's 80% good, and there's a 20% of that human element it really misses. I know that's going to improve, but no matter what happens, don't fully trust it unless there's a human involved in the process that has a sense of common sense. Because AI, if you come right down to it, all AI is nothing but a sociopath out there. There is no emotional fixation by the AI. It is going to sit down and just give you a linear answer, whether or not the process is, and there is some truth to the aspect of the world will end when AI takes over. Well, AI shouldn't take over, and we should make certain that we're running it and it's not running us. But it doesn't mean it's not super smart and can provide a lot of cost reduction. You can do some great demand forecasting. Forecasting can be better, but sometimes, since the fact it doesn't understand the end consumer's thought process, the forecasting needs to be taken with some moderation. It certainly do predictive maintenance more than we can. It can actually, we have robots now that do all kinds of things, and robots are part of artificial intelligence, especially gathering the data for that aspect of it. But we have robots crawling around tanks today, trying to look for different potential leaks and every else weaknesses on it. Predictive maintenance, robots and AIs joined hand in hand can do spectacular things, and routine optimization or route optimization, figuring out which truck pathways to follow. You can find all kinds of things out there that humans simply can't do as quickly as an artificial intelligence. Inventory management, crank in the formula, it'll give you all kinds of information and potential opportunities you never thought about, anything from inventory management to supply chain visibility. Expert systems, a lot of them now will be taken over by artificial intelligence, where we're going to have really experienced people in there delivering their knowledge base into the AI for use by other people. So supply chain and AI, data tracking is a major function of AI today. It does a far better job than most humans are possibly capable of. It's moving into deep analysis of data to control the supply chain. Expect more, learn how to use it so you can thrive. Take care.